With heavy heart, I left Seville and got on a plane to my next country, Portugal. Portugal shares the Iberian Peninsula with Spain. It's relatively small with about 92,000 square kilometers. Nevertheless, Portugal has a rich, unique culture, lively cities, and beautiful countryside, and I cannot wait to explore this country. Porto, the second largest city in Portugal, is where I landed late in the afternoon. We're just on our way to town for dinner, and look who joined me. Hi. Sander. I think everyone here is wearing trousers and jackets, but I think we might have underestimated the coldness coming from 29, 30 degrees in Seville, and then, 16 degrees at the moment. So it's not really shorts weather, but here we are. For our first meal in Porto, we went for more traditional Portuguese food. Good morning. Welcome to sunny but cold Porto. It's 10 degrees at the moment. This is our first day, full day in Porto. So we're trying to hit as many sites as possible. See how many sites we can cram in a day. Alright, let's go. In the Spain series, we went inside few cathedrals. So I think I'm all church out. So I'm gonna appreciate the churches from the outside this time around. This is Livraria Lello, and according to the internet, this is the most beautiful bookshop in the world. So we came here early to beat the crowd. Too early in fact that they're not even open yet. Built in 1900, São Bento Station is one of Portugal's most striking stations. The main hall is breathtaking, with murals consist of more than 20,000 tiles and depict events in the country's history, such as different battles, the development of transport, but also of rural scenes from various regions. It's quite impressive and worth seeing. This is Cafe Majestic. Back in the 1920s, politicians, writers, and intellectuals used to discuss ideas in this cafe. These days, it's full of tourists like us. We decided to give this a miss and went to Coffee House instead, where coffee is just as great and natas are just as delicious. Natas or pastel de nata is one of the delicacies in Portugal. This is Clerigos Church. We were told that if you go up the tower, you will have a great view of the whole city. The queue was long and we were not very patient, so we left and moved to the next site. We are now on the other side of the river Douro, and we're taking a cable car to get a good aerial view of the city. There's no queue here, so if you're impatient like us and can't be dealing with the queues in the Clerigos Tower, this is a good alternative. Porto is the home of Portuguese fortified wine called port, so of course we did a port tasting session. Port is a sweet wine that's best enjoyed in smaller amounts, like for dessert or a nightcap. After the port tasting, we headed back to the apartment to change to something more presentable for dinner. The apartment we're staying at has got the most amazing view. But before you can enjoy it, you have to go up that hill. And you need to go up the hill. And then once you get to the top of the hill, you have to go up those stairs. Oh. Yeah. I think we've got one of the best Airbnbs in Porto. Look at that view. It gets better as you go upstairs, so let me show you. And this is the view. I think that's downtown, and there's the bridge. We've saved the best view for last. This is Crystal Palace Gardens. It has several well-manicured gardens and it offers the most amazing view of Porto and the Douro River. On top of that, you get to see peacocks just running about. And if you want to hear what peacock sounds like, here it is. All the walking and sightseeing, we ended the day with a dinner at Antiqvvm, which is one of the fanciest places we've ever dined. I didn't film the inside of the restaurant as it felt inappropriate, but I managed to film the food. Good morning. We're still recovering from that really fancy meal we've had last night. It was probably one of the fanciest meals we've ever had in our lives. It's so good. Anyway, we've learned one thing last night, that the other side of the river is called Gaia. This side is called Porto. And Gaia is where all the distilleries are, the port distilleries. And their vineyards are in the Douro Valley, which is where we're heading today. Our first stop is Quinta da Fos, where we'll have our first wine tasting of the day.
You should be able, everyone, to tell me a couple of flavors. Come on. The whiteboard.
Next stop is the Douro River boat trip. This river originates from Spain and goes all the way down to Porto. Can you sit on the side? Yeah. this is a homemade port. I go blind. What's your name again?
Antonio.
Antonio. So you can blame Antonio if I go blind.
Thank you very much. Keeping enjoying your day.
How do you say see you later in Portuguese?
Até a próxima. Really nice.
The last stop of the day is a village called Sabrosa, where our guide has arranged for a family to cook us lunch. In my previous video, I mentioned that Ferdinand Magellan brought Catholicism in the Philippines, where I'm from. What I forgot to mention is that he's Portuguese, but was working for the Spanish king when he landed in the Philippines. And on our way out of Sabrosa, our guide mentioned that a famous person used to live in this village, and that person is no other than Ferdinand Magellan. He has a statue in the middle of the village. I looked at the map afterwards and was amazed that the street opposite Ferdinand Magellan Street is called Cebu City Street, a city in the Philippines where Magellan believed to have planted a Christian church in 1521 and thus marked the birth of Christianity in the Philippines. And that's the end of our few days in Porto. And I think it's the best time to leave since the weather is not looking good. We're heading to Lisbon next, and hopefully the weather will be better there. I will see you in Lisbon. Kita kits, or as you say in Portugal.
Até a próxima.